live in this vast state.
It's on us. I need to turn it around.
Are we live?
Yes. Okay, there you go, Dana. Now.
Welcome to Texas Tuesday, where we help you narrow down where to live in this vast state of Texas. I'm Dana Pollard, a real estate agent in Texas, and guess what? You get to join our team meeting. We have team meetings on Tuesday, and we are going to talk about some of these areas to help you narrow down where to live. So one of the things we're going to do is talk about the Dream Home Questionnaire. If you have filled out the Dream Home Questionnaire, then we help you narrow down where to live. And if you want to be featured on the next week, Texas Tuesday, then fill out the Dream Home Questionnaire in the link below. And we're going to add a little button that says, I would like to be featured. And so if you could click that button, I want to be featured on the Dream Home Questionnaire, you'll have a whole 10 agents chatting with you. All right, so let's get started. We had a questionnaire come in this week.
Yeah.
Tell us, Kevin, a little bit about what they're looking for.
Awesome. So one of the questionnaires that we had roll in this week is a first-time home buyer who's looking to stay comfortably under $400,000. They are a single lady and just has a dog that they're looking to keep. They're going to be working down in Avondale, which is far south of Fort Worth, but they're wanting to stay closer to the suburban area or where they can head downtown. So lots of shopping nearby, day in and day out things. So we started taking a look at the northern part of the Metroplex, noticed that that was going to be about a 50-minute commute.
And she wanted to stay within 45 minutes, right?
Yes. So that was out of the picture on this
Just
one, which is
yeah.
it's pretty rare because a lot of people actually like going up north because there's so much to offer, but the south has quite a bit too. So lots of new construction is going to be down there in the south as things continue expanding in that realm. We actually ended up in Burleson, which has tons of shopping right at the split of I-35. Things like Best Buy, Target, and a whole entire shopping center right there. Lots of new communities again, and we're right there at about $375,000. We got under contract with Guillen Homes, and it actually had available spec homes ready to be purchased, which is super rare in this market.
So let's talk about the southern side of the Metroplex. So what are some pros to say, so this in particular, this is South Fort Worth. What are some pros about South Fort Worth?
I would say that the small town feel, but being so close to the city limits is just fabulous. Like you can get so much. You still have those mom and pop coffee shops. You have those little shopping centers. So much charm that you can find down there. It's kind of similar to Aledo, in my opinion, where Aledo is just a smaller town, but it is so nice out there. It's so cool. You have these rolling hills. It's definitely different from the north side of the Metroplex, where it's very busy, hustle, bustle all the time.
Yes, very true. Now, we used to think of Burleson as a country town, but it now has like everything you can possibly need, right?
Yeah, it has a water park for kids. It's got Jellystone.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You go camping and you take the kids RVing. So
Outdoor
you
activities.
got a lot of entertainment for families.
Mm-hmm.
I really like something that Katie mentioned, that the north side is typically busier than what the south side is. And you could tell, because when you're down there, it's a lot of just two-lane roads. But even despite, what we consider traffic and having to wait at a stoplight, there just wasn't any of that in the south. And I think something that's so popular from all of our out-of-state clients, especially coming from the more populated areas like New York and California and Florida, they're used to going 60 miles an hour for their speed limit.
Yeah.
When you come over to Texas, it's 75. We go all the way up to 85 legally here, and so we're just flying by the seat of our pants. It's 25 miles down the road, and we're getting there in 20 minutes.
Yeah. It definitely feels country on the south side of Fort Worth and the south side of Dallas. Yeah, it feels country.
A lot of amenities, a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
Where's she from? She was from.
She's from Miami, so she used to live in Miami, up in New York too, over in California, just relocating for work. And it's another corporation that's moving here.
Oh yeah, because we have so many corporations, because we have great low business tax. So I was just in Miami, and it was 88 degrees, and I swear, I came back to 100-degree weather. I swear, I will take Texas 100-degree weather over Miami any day.
Yes.
Any day. Yeah, all day long. Alright, so we have another family that we had a questionnaire come in that they are looking for up to 1.5 million in Frisco, Southlake, and Trophy Club. They're looking for the top schools, and any thoughts?
Well, those are the prime areas. That's where everybody wants to be, is Southlake, Frisco, Trophy Club.
Trophy Club
Definitely-
is newer on the radar, but I
Yeah.
just released a video, so this is like one of the first times someone actually but what do y'all think of Trophy Club?
Trophy Club is beautiful. I think it is a little bit more laid back than Westlake would probably be. It's not so high end where it almost feels too luxury.
Yeah.
I think Trophy Club has that nice little bit of balance, but you're still in fantastic schools. You have a beautiful community, and you are very, very close to all of these activities. You're close to the lake, you're close to Fort Worth, you're close to Keller, you're close to Southlake. It feels very close to all of those amenities that you
Yeah,
can be looking
it
for.
really does. I love the hills of Trophy Club.
Yes.
So Trophy Clubs, it's a city in its own, but honestly feels like a whole entire community in the neighborhood. It's nestled right on the south side of Grapevine Lake, in between 114, and it's just a little pocket. It also has Northwest ISD in it, and Byron Nelson, the high school, which looks like a miniature college campus, honestly. And it's nestled in between the community itself, so it's very centrally located for everybody in the community. Trophy Club's also very golf cart friendly, so you can just take your golf cart,
Yeah,
ride the
that's
kids
true.
right down to the
I see
shopping
That is
area.
true. Driving through Trophy Club on golf carts.
Yeah,
Oh,
even
that's
if
You
the
see
life.
it very often.
at meet you
You
anywhere,
don't
they
like
literally
driving?
have.
I'm partial to other cities. You guys, I know you guys like Trophy Club, but I'm also partial to Flower Mound.
Oh, yeah.
Colleyville. Flower
Argyle.
Mound, yes. So a lot of people just are focusing on Southlake and Frisco, but we have so much to offer everywhere. And a lot of my clients coming in, they love Flower Mound.
Yes.
And I'm partial to Colleyville too, because Colleyville is small, close to Southlake. And if you go on the older version of Colleyville, it's lots of trees. And lots of rural winding. It's so peaceful out there. So don't discount, but it is older homes. But don't discount older homes because they have a lot of charm and it's not cookie cutter.
Right.
There are a lot of custom builds in the old, and you have land if you're willing to go
That's
older communities.
Yep. Bigger lot.
So, yeah, and it has great schools,
Yeah.
both of them,
Yes.
Flower Mound and Colleyville.
Yes,
So those are
yes.
great options for 1.5 million
Yeah.
and under.
So how does Colleyville compare to Southlake for 1.5? Specifically, like, what can you get in a
Well,
difference?
so in Colleyville, so you get Colleyville, Grapevine ISD, but I think it's an older community than Southlake. So I think the population perhaps might also be older, so look at the demographics. In Southlake, I think you have more school-age children that's younger. Colleyville are more retired people, older families, I think, moving in. So, but I love the trees. You get
Oh, I
more
do
trees
too.
in Colleyville.
So that's what I love about
And
Colleyville and
trees.
Southlake versus Frisco.
Yeah.
I mean, Frisco, just not as many trees.
No.
Or for short trees.
No.
Frisco definitely feels like it's in that bigger city kind of feel. You have everything at your fingertips, so it is such a cool area to be in just because of the proximity you are to all of these great events. I think it is a younger community out there. It is new, fresh.
But Colleyville, they
beautiful.
like keeping it small town. They
Exactly.
fight against having 3-lane streets.
Yes.
So in the city of Colleyville, they want to keep it small. They want to keep it like more rural, and that's what the I guess the feel is more. So once construction is done on Highway 26, it'll be awesome.
I mentioned that in my
I know,
Colleyville
we're getting
video.
there, okay,
I'm
we're
like,
getting there.
for
We're
20
this close.
years.
We're this close.
Probably longer. That's like my whole adult life. I'm like, drought for a little
It
while.
is, it is.
And it's getting better, so,
One of my best consensus, it took me a little bit to put this together, but the biggest differentiating factor, in my opinion, is the zoning. So Colleyville and Southlake, you'll notice most of their shopping is on 1709 or Lincoln Roads, and the rest is all residential neighborhoods or subdivision developments, versus when you go into Frisco, they have a little bit more of mixed zoning, being that everything else is at your fingertips and a much shorter commute. So you may see some apartment living across the street from you, or just more buildings throughout the neighborhood
that
as
is
well.
true, that is true.
Okay, we have a couple questions coming in. So, someone said, do you think the housing prices will go down a bit soon?
Thoughts on that? I have my own thoughts. Well, okay, let's look at history just for a moment. Just the history of the trends of each year, right? I always say that when school starts is the best time to buy a home because usually you have the highest amount of inventory relative to the amount of buyers on the market. There's a slight pullback. So if you're hearing right now that there's a pullback, it's normal every single year except 2020. Now, do I think that they'll go down? I do think that there's so much out there. There's so many possibilities. I don't know that we can predict the future. I can say this about Texas in particular though. With so many corporations moving here, and because we weren't shut down as long as other states, our economy is, our economy is booming. So even if the rest of the US tanks for whatever reason, I think that we're still gonna have a strong base, even if it dips down a little bit. So if we go back to 2008, in Texas, we only depreciated on average 3%. I don't know if you knew that. We probably did because y'all are good agents. But it felt like the end of the world, but it wasn't hit, Texas wasn't hit to the extent that other states were hit. So I feel like if it's gonna go down, then we still have a stronger base than many other states out there. So to predict the future, I can't do that. Would I still feel comfortable buying a home right now? Absolutely. We're in the market to buy a rental house, right? And so I'm confident enough to buy a home because even if it goes down a little bit, I know that long term, it's going back up, right? Any other thoughts on that?
I agree with that in the fact that I don't think that the values are gonna go down necessarily, but I do think that the market will shift to be a little bit more even, so you're not competing constantly and the prices aren't increasing so rapidly.
That's our
the way
hope
that we
too,
see.
right?
Yes, it is our hope, for sure.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts on
Yeah, as
pricing?
you've mentioned before, new home construction drives the market. So what it costs to build a new house is therefore about the new median and slightly rises all the pre-owned home prices. So with all the materials that are going up in expense, therefore that creates a higher value for what it takes to create a new and make a new home. So I think that's going to establish a higher baseline to get into
I
homes.
agree. Yeah, that is true.
So my thoughts are that I think what we notice right now that is that the listing companies are not anticipating a really strong market. Like a few months ago or a month ago, we were having listing agent listing the house like she was like 3 months down the line. And right now I think they're more cautious, so they list the home at the actual market value of the house. And
That's a
they're
good
not
point.
necessarily gonna have like 10 offers on day one, so they might sell it at asking, even probably below asking. So it's a great time, like you were saying, right now to buy. So if you're waiting for a pullback where you think, houses are gonna crash or come back, probably not going to happen. But I think what is going to happen, that the price feels like a little bit lower because it's actually the real market value of the home right now.
Yes.
It's not playing this anticipation of what the market's gonna do in a couple of months. So it's a great time to buy, absolutely. And you have more time to negotiate right now. You get a chance to negotiate for repairs or all those things that were pretty much gone in the last few months.
I'm so glad that it's
Yeah,
starting to barely balance out a little bit.
so
I think we got time for one more question.
Okay, yes, one more question. They were looking for nice lake house areas within the DFW area.
The colony.
The
The colony is right on Lake Lewisville. And some lots right now they're releasing, actually Taylor Morrison is releasing some lots that I just got an email that is on Lake Lewisville with the views. In the colony, if you look for the tribute.
Oh, yes, the tribute, yes.
I just closed a house in the tribute, and it's great schools, even though it's Louisville ISD, but that STEM elementary school through 8th grade is phenomenal ratings. So
Yeah.
has really high ratings, and lots of amenities out there. It's beautiful at the tribute.
Yes.
So that's one option.
That's a great option. And if they're looking more country style, then I'd say probably Lake Granbury, although I don't think that's my favorite lake. No.
Caramel also is on the
That's
list.
just country style.
Yes.
I personally like Eagle Mountain Lake.
I like it.
I love Eagle
In
Mountain.
Fort Worth, that's
Like
Fort Worth.
the reason we say we don't really care for Lake Granbury is it's not actually a lake, it's actually the Brazos River, and so when you're going on a boat or something, you may get caught in stuff.
It can get very low.
It can get low,
For
and so that's the reason.
That's Fort Worth.
We also-
Yeah, that's on the Fort Worth side.
Rockwall, don't forget.
Rockwall.
Rockwall is actually my favorite.
East Dallas.
It is beautiful driving over that bridge.
It really
Yeah.
is so beautiful. It feels
Yeah.
like a lake town over there. I don't know what it is about it. It feels like you're being transported out of the city, and you're so close to the city, and you're being transported out of there into this this little oasis, and it almost feels like island life.
Yes.
Well, it also depends, obviously, the price point, and
Yes,
then it depends on what exactly they mean for a lake house. Because if you're looking with a dock and actually to keep your boat on the lake, then Lake Great Point will not work.
No,
It's
it's more
you know, let you
engineer.
do it.
Yeah,
But
that's
you can go to Lake Great Harbor by Rockwood up there.
Oh,
That
yeah.
one is one of the few that still allow docks, and you can build a ramp. So all depends on price point, and but yes, we have some options with that too.
Viridian in Arlington too.
Oh yeah, Meridian and Arlington has small man-made lakes, but I love it because they have sailboats out there,
That you can
They
have,
do.
yeah.
and you can build a home on an island.
island.
Yeah.
One of my clients is building
Yes.
a home out there right now on the island.
Oh,
And
very good.
And they love it. They love the community. There's a little beach access too.
Yes.
Out there, so I see families on the weekends putting up, their little tent and with the kids playing in the sand.
It's
really
very
good.
sweet. Yes.
But there's also another thought is like a lot of people do purchase a house in town and then they buy a lake home.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe like within an hour and a half or 2 hour drive, so it's probably like a third of the
Bridgeport,
cost.
right?
Yeah.
Bridgeport has one off of I-35.
Whitney,
near the
like
Motor
Whitney,
Speedway.
wasn't that a nice lake out there?
Plus the Glen Rose too, there's no.
Yeah.
Lake Texoma.
Yeah, we have a lot of lakes.
There's 7,000 lakes in
Yeah.
Texas.
7,000 lakes in
And,
Texas.
and
And
then
we're about to name them all. Ready, go.
Any other questions?
Yes, one more question. It's about what's the hot areas for investment property in the DFW area? And I think that they've been finding that new builders don't want to, cater to investors. So
Okay, so we have an investment agent on the team. I say in the Dallas-Fort Worth price point, right? I don't know where's a bad area to invest in Dallas-Fort Worth because even what I call the grubby areas are going up in value. So I'm like, but maybe as an investor, what do you look for, Vanessa?
I would just look for what the market rates are in the area and versus the price of, the home in the area. And I would just do the numbers. It's not necessarily, for me as an investor, I wouldn't really care about the area. It's just, am I gonna get the rents for the price that I pay in a mortgage? And it's really the numbers thing versus the area.
Yeah.
So traditionally, we're looking for, when the markets will become, we're looking for the 1% rule. So if you buy $100,000, you would like to get $1,000 a month of rent. Now, it's not easy to do that everywhere, but if you go in a more risky area, then the rent goes up. So you get maybe $1.20, $1.30 per each, basically the percentage. But if you go in a luxury market, you're gonna get more capital gain, but you're gonna have less rent. So you
That's
want.
true.
And then the other thing I want to say is the school district drives a lot of rent. I'm not sure why, but like in this area, a lot of people really look for school first and then the house. So they're like, I want to be in the Keller ISD, I want to be in this school district. So obviously some school districts are a little bit better than others, and I do think that Fort Worth area with the Keller ISD
Yeah.
is one of the best areas.
I was gonna say the same thing, Robert. So your zip code. So the
Yeah.
zip code is 76244. To
Mhm.
me, I love that zip code for investment purposes because they're in the city of Fort Worth. Now, the taxes are high in that zip code.
When you say high, what's the percentage? Because a lot of people
We're
don't
sitting at
understand what high means.
2.8%.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so 2.8%, but it's a highly desired area because of the school districts, which is Keller. And it's an easy commute to downtown Fort Worth, easy access to 35, brand new shopping, great, it's just drawing families like crazy. And I've noticed that renters tend to stay a little longer in that zip code than if, I kind of like that happy medium price point, you know, that 400,000, maybe 250 to 40. This is just me personally, everyone is a different investor. Because they make it longer. Because everyone knows that when you turn a unit, it's money. And so you're looking, it's nice to have long-term renters versus in the luxury market where they make it for a year and then they're out.
I will
Any
say
final
too
thoughts?
that there's a spot in Dallas because I have an investment client right now who's looking, and like there's really, really expensive luxury apartments in near like downtown Dallas, like the Hamilton, where rent is like $4,000 a month to be there, and you can literally drive 5 minutes away and you're like in almost like the houses are falling apart and they're very small, but those houses, investors are already coming in from out of state and grabbing those up because they know what's coming, and that whole area is gonna shift, and all of the expensive part of Dallas is gonna bleed out into those areas.
Yes.
And so getting in on those investment properties right now, when they're like $120,000 for the property, there's one that I know of specifically that I took clients out to see, and it was listed at $129,000. And she had tenants in there paying $1,300 a month, and this place was tiny and
1%.
somewhat dilapidated. Yep, you're 1%.
I was good to say that, yeah. I mean, those areas were, some of those areas are a little scary to drive by still, but if you can get past that.
Yeah, you're holding on to it.
And if you look at the project in the city where they're really planning for that,
Exactly.
it's huge.
Oh, so
absolutely.
in South
That's a good
Dallas,
point.
that's a
The
great
project for the
point.
city.
In South Dallas, they are funneling EB5 money.
Yes.
And what EB5 money is, what I call it's investor money from other countries. And so they want to obtain residency here in the US. And so in order to do that, they have to do a high risk investment. They are literally going to transform South Dallas. They've already, that's where, is it Nilo? I can't remember what hotel it is there. They've already been putting some really cool commercial projects in there to revitalize that area. So
Right.
that might
So
be, in 20 years, it'll probably
yes,
be
that's the
so
thing.
different
If
than
you
it
can
is
just get a
today.
rental property, and if you want to flip it and then rent it out, then great. But even if you just held on to it and you're looking at the long-term gain, you hang on to that property, and in 10, 20 years, it's
Yes.
going to be mega return on your
Yes.
investment.
I
Absolutely.
think that's the best strategy for investment is buy and hold
I do
because
too.
everything's developing and you can buy low and then you'll profit off of all those.
Yeah,
rents when they
because
really
Dallas
increase.
Fort
They are
Worth,
probably your rent increases.
yeah.
Everyone's coming to Texas.
Everyone's coming to Texas.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are going to start doing this Texas Tuesday Live every Tuesday. And so if you want to be featured, fill out the Dream Home questionnaire in the link below. Click the button that says, I want to be featured. Actually, I gotta go put that on there right now. So, so you'll find it. If it's not on there, just put it in the notes. So fill the Dream Home questionnaire out. We will be in contact with you, and we will see you next Tuesday.
And we'll try to take care of some of these questions that we didn't get to. We'll try to address them next Tuesday. So
Absolutely. Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Thank you all so much.
Bye.